Hello there, Willie here at the Great Outdoors. You know, the other day I was having a conversation. That's right, me having a conversation. Who would have ever thought of such a crazy thing? Me talking. But I was. And let me tell you, it was a great conversation because it created something. It created a curiosity. And that's what sometimes conversation can do. It also builds bridges. It also can create massive waterfalls of information. Well, during this massive waterfall of information that was going underneath of this bridge, causing the chaos that it did, a gentleman, a friend of mine now, Mr. Gary Barber. Now, you're going to know Mr. Gary Barber from the 45th anniversaries. That's right, he sent me all those parts to build all those 45th anniversaries. He also sent me a Century DLX. That's right. A few videos back, you saw me catch a lot of fish, a lot of big crappie, and a few bass here and there, with a 45th anniversary and that silver reel. And if it hadn't have been for him, you wouldn't have seen that video, and I wouldn't have caught those fish. That's right. But where I'm going with this is, the conversation that him and I were having were about spin cast reels. Imagine that. Go ahead, try to imagine it. You don't have to, because I'm telling you about it right now. What happened was, I mentioned that along with the Johnson company, which I love, we all know I love the green reels, I also like Shakespeare and I also like Abu Garcia. Well, in the vast realm of spin cast reels, you can find Zebcos almost anywhere. I mean anywhere. You can find the old Zebcos. The market was flooded with those guys back in the day. So there's all kinds of different model numbers and versions and things of Zebco out there everywhere. So you can find those fairly easily. Second, I would say, is probably Shakespeare. I do bump into the Shakespeare early 60s, late 50s Shakespeare quite frequently. But you also can find the Johnson company out there. Citations and Centuries. That's usually what you'll find the most of. Now you will come across your occasional plastic versions like the 225s and the Tangle Frees and the say can you see? You know which one I'm talking about. I think it's SABRA or something like that. You'll come across those. But what you don't come across very often is Abu Garcia. Now, during our conversation, I mentioned that I love the Abu Garcias. I love the Abu-matics, like the 120s and the 170s, and I got a 225U. Those are the kind of reels I just don't see. You just do not see them. They're not exactly flea market slash Goodwill slash yard sale reels. You just don't find them that often. Why is that? I don't know. I've got no idea why that is. I don't have any idea. Got no idea whatsoever. But during the mention of that, Gary mentioned to me that he had purchased some Johnson reels, and during that purchase, part of the purchase was he wound up with a Abu-matic 60. Now that's an older version, pretty darn cool, kind of where the 170 started to come into play. And I said, well, that's pretty neat. And he said, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Well, immediately I went, I know what you can do with it. Tell me how much you want for it. Well, he said, instead of going that route, how about I just send you the thing and then we'll figure out whether you like it or not, want it or not, and then we'll go from there. And I said, that sounds great. And the next thing I know, I've got a box. That's right, a box. And you can only guess what's in it. You don't need to because we've been talking about it. So if you're guessing what's in the box right now, you haven't been listening. That's the magic of conversation. Someone has to listen. Not all the time, because I've seen some people standing out here on the corners that are talking to somebody. I don't know who they're talking to, and I don't know if anybody's listening. But that's all right. They're having a conversation, even if they answer themselves. So let's get into this box and take a look at what Gary has sent, and maybe you'll think it's as cool as I think it is. How about that? All right. Let me find something to crack this monster open with here. You would think by now I'd have a knife in that drawer. I've only got 6,205 knives. Why I don't have one in that drawer, I don't know. Ooh. Now here's the cool part. I'll set that right there. Hey, where the devil are you going to? Now, first off, this is cool. This is one of the things that I always thought was very cool about the Abu Garcia reels. Sorry, you could get this leather carrying case, and I mean that's just cool. They cared so much about their reels that they made cases for them. I mean, they're made in Sweden. Need to clean that a little bit. Ooh, she's very. Man, that's even a leather, like a suede interior. It's like a Ferrari. Let's lay it down and do it safely. Oh, look. That's the little case that you would have put your wrench in. Abu. My God, man, this is awesome. Boy, I've got to figure some things out here now. Product of Sweden. I got to know what that is. Okay, he's got the drag down. Man, look at that. Pearl handle. That's like a Colt revolver handle right there. Oh man, she is working just fine. There we go. Darn shame I got to stand up so I can see if it's focusing on it. Man, that thing is awesome looking. Now what I got to figure out, I've got to figure out how it comes apart. Looks like you pry it down into that notch. There's a notch in the bottom there. This is not easy. Okay, that's what you do. I got you now. That's what holds it in there. That's cool. Very cool. All right, I'm getting you. I'm understanding. I'm here with you. Rotor's a bit crooked. Let's see here. Or is it just not tight? Oh, it's not tight. Okay, screw's not tight. That's all it is. Rotor's just doing a little jibber jabber in there because it's not tight up top there. Take that off. Okay, a very typical interior of the rotor there. We have the more like leaf spring style copper spring up there for the pickup pin. Then to get the spool off, we have to take the C-clip out. So let's do that. Okay. Alright, we're going to get that line off of there because we don't know how long that's been on there for. Man, this thing I believe has been gone through already. It is just moving easy as pie. There is no issue with this thing at all. So what we'll do is we'll just take this cover off right here and we'll just take a look inside, and we may not even have to do anything to this. Gary makes it way too easy on me. Oh, okay, I got you. Yep, somebody's gone through this. There's already grease and stuff in it. It has C-clips on the back of the screws to keep the screws from falling out. Now, is that cool or what? Is that technology? I mean, that was thinking back in the day. That's why they're Swiss made. Now, there is some stanky grease in there. Somebody has gone through it, but it was probably a long time ago. Oh yeah, yeah, that grease is thick and stanky. Alright, we're going to try to, I'm going to cut the camera off real quick. I'm going to scrape some of that out of there, since you don't need to sit and watch that. And we'll get this thing cleaned up. Okay, we're going to go back to filming now, just so I can make sure that I put everything back the way it should be. We're taking off that little screw head there, which is actually a reverse thread to get it off, where this star is the normal thread to get it off. Got to remember how everything goes here. Okay, there's nothing under the nut, it's just the crank, and that's it. Then under the crank we have that little bushing, very similar to a Shakespeare. Very similar. Let's set that down right here. We got pieces coming out. We've got to remember how this is working. Now I'm going to have to go clean this out because I can't see on that spring if it's a C-clip or what that is. I can't see in there. I think it's a C-clip, but I can't see it. You know, I'm finding it amusing at how closely all these reels emulate one another. Because there's a C-clamp, little C-clip right there, and I've got to be able to get that out of there. Alright friends, I'm sitting here before you terrified now because the doggone camera cut off and I didn't know it. And I was sitting here tearing into this thing, and let me tell you something. I can physically see why these are so much different than anything that we deal with when it comes to fishing reels. This thing has got some stuff in it, people. I'll be honest with you, I'm scared to death right now, this thing. So I'm going to start having to clean this up now. I've got everything out of it. It's very gooey and ooey gooey in there. This thing was working pretty good, but it was very old stuff that was inside it. Okay, I'm glad I seen that. We've got a piece on this gear that's raised up. Obviously a clicker of some kind. Alright, I'm going to be honest with you. I am right now the most terrified I have ever been messing with a reel. There's a lot of little pieces here, and the camera shut off while I was disassembling it. But what we're going to do is, some of this stuff I'm going to clean up right here real quick while I can see how it works. Now I'm going to lay it down there the way that it... I'm going to be honest with you, I can see why Abu-matics are, I don't know if you want to say they're sought after or they're what, but there's a lot of stuff in here that makes this thing run really well. You got to be careful with some of it, because some of it is like really, like this little guy here is just a little tiny thing that could very easily break. Not in that bad shape. You see how that's on there on that reverse, anti-reverse? That's how it catches. It keeps it from... makes it so it works. I mean, I am absolutely just dumbfounded with this thing. I'm trying to... That will be the first part that we put back. And there was a whole lot of grease in here, which in some of these places it just doesn't need to be grease. It needs to be oil. Little teeny tiny screws. You can see those. I realize you're probably not getting a very good build video here, but I'll be honest with you, I'm scared. This one's terrifying me. Okay, that's how that goes back in there. And I mean, like I said, I am so sorry that I am not really showing you how that works, but that's how that goes back in there. I can get a good look at it. There's probably going to be other people out there that are a lot better at this one than I am. Then you have these little teeny tiny screws that have to go back in here, and I'm not sure how I'm going to get it back in there. Boys and girls, I'm telling you, this one's scaring me. I'm really trying to figure out how this thing goes back together. Yeah, it's terrifying. There was all grease in here, but I'm not greasing these pieces. They shouldn't, to me, they shouldn't be greased. They should be oiled. Okay, then your drag bushing goes in there on top of that gear, and then your actual gear will go like this. So there's, you can hear your clicking there. So your gear goes through the shaft. You have a drag bushing on the bottom, a washer on the bottom of your main crank gear. It's going to go through here. You can see how well this stuff is cleaned up. It looks really nice. I'm sorry I haven't really been talking about that, but I'm not joking. This is a frightening reel to deal with. This thing is a lot of stuff in here. I would make a suggestion that if you want to dive into this guy, to have a general idea of what you're doing when you do it. Because if it wasn't for me having a little bit of experience with this stuff, I'm not so sure I would have done this. This guy here, there's a spring inside of here, and there's a bushing, a little bushing inside. There's a spring inside of there, a little short spring, and then that bushing. And again, guys, I do have to apologize for this not being the greatest when it comes to cleaning and repair, but my camera cut off because it overheated, because it has taken me quite a while to get to this point. Okay, so next will be, let's clean that nut up there. Then your drag star goes back on. Then this little nut that goes on the inside of there, but to thread it on, it goes in reverse. Okay, so now all of this internally will hold on. And your drag and your anti-reverse is working. Whew, people, I am a nervous wreck here. Okay, this is a learning experience. All right, the pinion gear, if I could get it out of there. Okay, in order to get that pinion gear back in there, you can't put this stuff together first. All right, I got to take it back apart. Okay, so all this has got to come back out, and you can't put that shaft in first. Okay, got it. But here's the thing, now that I know it, and I'm learning it, it's not that bad, but figuring it out and making sure you're doing it correctly, that's frightening. Alright, I got some washers I got to clean up real quick. These are the little washers that go on the spring. Can't begin to tell you how much fun that's going to be. Then the shaft goes in the hole like this. Then it fits into the gear groove. Now we have to get the spring. The spring has a bushing. This butts up against the top of the gear, but I have to pull it out of here like this again. Then push the shaft into. I'm going to use these little forceps here to hopefully hold this washer. Okay, I think that worked. It is so close to the same size as the shaft that it's fighting with me. Okay, I got that. Now the C-clip. Can I do that with my fingers all up in this? Probably not. There's just pieces here that if you lose them, you're not using this reel. I can't even hardly hold on to it. There she went. Thank goodness it didn't go far. It looks like that C-clip is made of brass. And when you pop it off and on there, it actually stretches it out. So you have to almost push it back around it again. I really need to see if I can find another C-clip that'll work better there. But I got it crushed back on it where it'll it'll work. Alright, looks like our drag is functioning like it's supposed to. Everything is turning and it's not grinding. That's a plus. Now, let's clean the button up here real quick. She's kind of yellowing with some age. What's written on there? Sweden. Sweden is written on there. Really need to get me some clean toothbrushes to put down here. You can see that's the grease that's coming off the button here. We are going to put some grease inside of this thing. Now, as I've said, I just kind of like to make sure each individual tooth gets a little grease in it. Then I will stick our button in there. Then we will put our faceplate back on. This is really a cool faceplate, the way they made those so the screws don't fall out. That's pretty cool. Make sure that it goes through the whole of the button. Alright, got the line off the spool. We're going to put that back on there. Like that. Then we got to get this C-clip pushed back on there. Not quite sure why it doesn't want to go, but there we go. It was fighting me. I got it though. I don't know if y'all could see it or not, but I got it. Alright, got the rotor all cleaned up. Get that back up here. And we'll get our screw, come back here, nut I mean, put back on there. Everything's working. And our reverse is working. Drag is working. She don't growl. Don't growl a bit. Then this goes like that. Then you got that little clip I was showing you earlier there. That's what locks her into place. Doing the thing. And I'm telling you right now, I'm doing the thing hatless. That's right. Why am I doing it hatless, you might ask? Because I'm going to tell you what. My hat is off to the Abu Garcia company. The Abu-matic. That scared me. I'm not going to lie to you. I've taken a whole lot of these things apart before. That one scared me. I was not real sure I could remember how to get it back together again. Well, we had a camera malfunction because it overheated and shut off and I didn't know it. That's right. Had no idea. So you got to see part of the disassembly and you're probably only going to get to see part of the reassembly. You'll see the part. It's took a long time. I started working on this thing probably 2.5, 3 hours ago. This one's the longest it's ever taken. I was scared. I was scared. But now I've got to do a little homework. Hardly any growl whatsoever. Everything's working. Drag's doing what it does. It's doing what it's supposed to do. So evidently we put it back together right. And of course with its fancy leather carrying case, this is quite a find. I didn't find it, but conversation, talking, simply bringing up things in conversation just made Gary say, you know, I have one of those. And the key to that was, you know, I have one of those, but I have no desire to do anything with it. That's all I needed to hear. I just can't help but keep looking just to make sure everything's doing what it's supposed to do. And it looks like it is. So there you go. An Abu-matic Model 60 with fancy leather carrying case. Comment down below what you think. Just tell me. Give me your opinion. Tell me what you think. Please comment down below and tell Gary thank you too, by the way. Because now I get to pay him for it. But this is very cool. I am very, very much looking forward to using this reel. This is going to be a 6-pound line most likely. And I would say the campground is probably going to be where I'm going to take it. And be able to give it a shot. And I got some camping coming up very soon here. And because the campground is now open. And we got to take the old camper out for its inaugural first day, first season, first It has to go out. It's got to get out of my driveway. I'm tired of looking at it. Anyway, there it is, Abu-matic 60. This is a really nice reel, and I really think it's going to be one of the prides of my collection. I said collection again. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys are looking forward to seeing this one get out there, because I'm looking very forward to taking it out there. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate each and every one of you, and we will see you on the next one. Whatever the next one